Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. This segment is brought to you by our friends over at Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. Guys, it's Friday night. Get out there, enjoy some live entertainment, no cover charge. They're open from 4 p.m. to midnight, so just go ahead and make dinner plans. Whether you're stopping by to pick up some pies on the way home or you want to grab an early dinner, maybe you're going bowling over there. Go get some great food at Acme Pizza and Daiquiris before you go back there to the bowling alley, or just park your butt right there in the booth or at the bar and enjoy it fresh out the oven at Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. They got 12 different specialty pizzas, 9 different frozen daiquiris. Did you know you can get the daiquiris to go? Wow. Daiquiris to go. What a time to be alive. Anyway, available on all major food delivery apps, and of course available for carry out and dine in. Try the pig, and more today. Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. Fannin Mart on the Res. Open 7 days a week, 4 p.m. to midnight. Slanging pies later than anybody in Rankin County, using 100% fresh toppings and more. Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. All right, man. Here in the FAFO.com studios. Y'all be sure to get over to my website today and buy a shirt, a cap, a flag, a tank top. We got it all. FAFO.com. We got Fred Shanks, my House of Representatives legislature. That legislator word really gets me.
It's close enough.
my legislator. And we got, of course, our Friday companion, Shaun Yurtkuran here. Guys, let's jump straight into something.
Yep.
Sad story breaking yesterday with the 2 girls that got kidnapped out of Louisiana. Their mom was murdered. Mm-hmm. Amber Alert pops up, and man, we've really gotten numb to those Amber Alerts, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And every time when it hits close to home, we're like, oh man, I'm never ignoring those things again, and I'm gonna start paying more attention. And so somebody did pay attention to the Amber Alert,
and I was not them. Now that you say that, I was driving in Slidell yesterday morning, and those things were going off in Louisiana, and I wasn't even read it. You know, I guess most of us, like you said, we're just so numb to it.
You just get numb to it. Mm-hmm. So over on Bouger Drive, Bouger Road, whatever it's called in South Jackson, somebody did see the Amber Alert or the news or whatever, and they recognized the guy. The guy kills the mother, kidnaps the 2 girls, a 4 and a 6-year-old. The best we know, he is not the father of these children, but he has some type of relationship with the mother, and that's developing. We'll find out the extent of that here in the next couple of days, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. If some of the stuff I'm hearing is true, it's exponentially worse than even what we already know, if true. But so this is according to a Facebook post I saw last night, and you got to take all that with a grain of salt, right? So they see this guy over here on Bouger, some citizen over there, some good God-fearing citizen that's doing what I wish more people in Jackson would do: see something, say something. They call 911. They were hung up on 4 times.
What?
They were hung up on 4 times by 911.
Okay.
I'm going to read their exact Facebook post here because somebody sent it to me. All right, here's what it says. This is from the person's irrelevant. If JPD had come when they were called 4 times and the person was hung up on every time, maybe both girls would still be alive. J-Town is a POS.
That's heartbreaking.
And we all know that the 911 situation here is terrible.
Yeah. Do you think the lines are packed with people calling about the mayor's crimes, though? That's why. You know.
Too early.
No. Yeah, too early, right? Just had to throw that in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking to think that they could have gotten there a few minutes sooner had a 911, not been doing 911 stuff. My mom was behind a drunk driver a couple of years ago, early one morning over in that same McClure Road area, actually. And she called 911 to give them a description of the vehicle and tell them what's going on. My mom's been in law enforcement on and off my whole life and before. She's not an idiot. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 911 spent more time concerned about who she was and why she was calling and what did she drive.
Unreal.
Than ever asking a question about the vehicle that was swerving all over the roads.
Clay, that came up last year when we were doing some things with the Capitol Police Complex. And, of course, Capitol Police has their own dispatch.
Come a little closer to Mike.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Capitol Police, of course, has their own dispatch, but at the time, and it's still that way, it's going to shift here soon, is you would call, if you call 911, it went to the JPD switchboard, and then it would transfer over to Capitol Police. And
so you were still at the mercy of JPD.
Yeah, and we had, we had checked into it and discovered that a lot of times they wouldn't even answer the phone. And
it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, and then they wouldn't transfer the call. And then we just had to work through all those issues. But yeah, that's terrible.
Did anybody like discuss this with JPD with their 911 system that nobody's answering the phone? I mean, does anybody address that with them?
Not to my knowledge.
I do remember years when I was at the DA's office, there being issues about getting like the tapes from the 911 calls and those kind. I vaguely remember this being an issue.
Which normally shouldn't be a problem,
right? Yeah. I mean. Yeah, but this is all kind of coming back to me now. The issues now that we're talking about this, that there was those kinds of things going on. That's crazy. Like, I mean, you hire somebody to answer the 911 call, and it seems like a pretty standard, simple job. Right?
We're talking about the same people who refuse to hire the right amount of people to run the water plant.
Yeah, I mean, and won't hire enough police. I mean, again, I'm going to go back to my Chokwe example. Maybe if there's less, ability to answer 911 calls, you can get away with more stuff.
So that's how they manipulate the numbers too until your crime's down.
Yeah.
Well, of course it's down if people are trying to call and they can't get through to report it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a problem. That's the first thing that Kim Wade, if he gets elected, needs to do is address this. This is almost as stupid as the mic got cut off there. Yeah, this is almost as silly as the traffic signal problem that we've got, where you think these are like simple things to do, like fix the traffic signal, answer the 911 calls. Do we have to put people step by step through this to to train them to do things that you think that the normal city would do? Again, like traffic signals, 911 calls, trash pickup, water, basic things that you think you'd be able to do in any American city, I would think. They're not. I'm not asking them to build a new amphitheater or anything, or just
human needs,
human needs. Yeah, just human needs. Water, trash pickup, traffic signals, and the 911 call. Yeah. We really need to think about just abolishing the city government, because what are they doing? We just have warring tribes, like all of us in neighborhoods.
Well, that was actually one of the things when when the water crisis hit. I had talked about and introduced a bill. Of course, it didn't really go anywhere, but it got a conversation started about a takeover. Mm-hmm. Let the state come in and take over Jackson.
Yeah.
Install some type of leadership, non-political leadership, to handle just the day-to-day business of the city.
A city manager.
Yeah, and have it get things corrected. And ultimately, give it back many years later, but give it back once everything's running right. And we did that a couple years ago, had some discussion about it, and then, look where we are now.
Yeah. So you guys had actually discussed about taking the city over, yes. Right? And so there's a legal mechanism to do that. I don't know what it is. I'm sure y'all do.
Yeah, there is. It's not easy. It certainly involves the governor doing that. But and if y'all remember when Phil Bryant was governor, he almost took over the JPS school system.
I remember that. Yeah, 2017. Yeah, remember that.
And but looking back now, I think we should have done it.
100%.
Yeah.
And now don't want it. Like, no.
Well, now the third graders can't read. Remember that report a few weeks ago? Yeah. Now we got. Well, I mean, let's assume this, Fred. Like, if the stories that Clay and I have been talking about for the last few weeks are true, and the rumors in the community that everybody's the worst kept secret in Jackson, that we all know what's going on or have heard things. If that happens, do you think there might be the political will in the legislature to actually seriously consider this? A state takeover?
While the city's a wounded duck, so to say?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think so, because let's just say you've got, a DA and a mayor that are in serious trouble here. From what we're hearing, there's multiple council members that are potentially going to get in trouble. I mean, who do you have left to run the city, just to run it? Generally, if a mayor is removed out of office, your board would appoint someone to be the mayor in the interim.
Sure.
Well, that's not likely to happen here.
Would there be only 5 council members left if it's the 2 that were obviously heard?
Exactly.
With 2 of them.
You would assume there may be more. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what you do outside of that.
Do you think would that be the governor would have an opportunity to like maybe declare a state of emergency in the city to take? I don't know if that's a legal way to do that or not, but it seems like that could be. This would be when if you have the DA, the mayor, and the council people. That's a complete breakdown in city government. Whereas the state seems like they've got some sort of obligation to.
Absolutely, that's
especially with it being the capital.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm thinking. And then too, remember, 2 blocks away from City Hall, that's the governor's mansion.
Yeah,
so he's certainly going to be concerned about it, as we all would.
So, let's take a call real quick here on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Not sure who it is, but we shall find out. Hey, good morning.
Hello.
Hey.
Good morning. I just was at the waterworks curve, and they're talking about how bad, Jackson is. But I just saw a police officer helping a young lady change a flat tire at the wreck. There's some kind of wreck or something. And I just wanted to, talk about that or let them know that I saw something good in Jackson for a change.
Well, that's good. That's good. Thank you for letting us know.
Okay, bye.
Appreciate it. Yeah, well, look, man, you won't find a more law enforcement appreciative show than this one, so we always like to hear some good news about law enforcement.
I wonder if that was black and white.
Well, I was wondering too, because that's probably Capitol Police, but we got some good friends over at JPD too that listen to this show, so I don't want to just automatically assume, but my spidey senses say that it was probably a Capitol Police. But again, we've got some good friends over at JPD that it very well could be one of them. And I hate to even shout out any names anymore because I don't want them to get in trouble for being fans of this show.
Yeah, they're doing a really amazing job considering the circumstances that they're, it's kind of like Chief Wade is kind of like the assistant coach, and when I mean like that, Chokeway is the head coach. When your head coach sucks, what do you do? I mean,
but your offensive coordinator's great.
Yeah, your offensive coordinator's great. You got a good team, but your head coach is a moron. I mean, it's just it's kind of tough. It's like your head coach is Cam Cameron or something like that. What do you do?
Well, that's like when we were ramping up Capitol Police. I think the number for JPD was supposed to be around 600, and at the time, I know when the new police administration came in, they've started to build back, but at that time it was around 150 officers, which is, that's dangerous, that's scary, but since then, they have got some good leadership within the department and have started trying to build back.
Did wasn't that 600 number? Isn't that like a 1997 study or something too? It's an older study. Isn't it?
It's an FBI study. According to it's based on population. Yeah. It could be more than that. The number certainly could be higher. Because
obviously, the crime rate I know in the 90s it was pretty bad, but relatively to what it is now is just kind of, especially in terms of homicides, it's completely different, right?
Yeah.
All right, hold that thought. I want to play a clip from Chief Wade from the scene of this homicide with the young girl yesterday, and it's going to tie this in. I hope I've got it at the right spot here. It's Chief Wade asking why this would happen in Jackson, like why Jackson, and save your responses.
Yeah. A9 unit less than 2 miles away.
Tragic situation. You don't want to see that as a police chief. You don't want to see that as a father.
Jackson Police Chief Joseph Wade not holding back on expressing how he feels about the crimes Callahan is accused of committing.
This is an innocent 4-year-old child that's no longer with us because of the actions of a coward who took this child from her family, who killed their mother supposedly, and brought these children to Jackson, Mississippi, and took this child's life.
The car Callahan is believed to have been driving was recovered behind a home on Bouger Drive. The 2 girls that he's accused of kidnapping, 4-year-old Aaron Brunette and 6-year-old Jaylee Brunette, were found in a wooded...
Bear with me here. I just want to find this scene. I want to find this clip of him real quick before we go to break. Here we go.
On scene.
I think that he was trying to, once he realized that law enforcement knew where he was or had his proximity, that he tried to do away with the children by taking them into the woods, into that area. Thank God that at least one of the children survived. My understanding, the grandparents are en route to Jackson, Mississippi to see about that baby.
Things ended in Mississippi.
Let's see here. There's a clip of him that I got to play. Sorry, this is about here we go. Here we go.
Why did you bring these children here? Why did you take this child's life here in Jackson? A lot of questions to be answered.
That's the part I was wanting to get to. The chief is is wants to know why Jackson. Well, man, if you believe the rumors about that came out of the Chief's mouth, and this is not an attack on the Chief, by the way. If you believe the words that came out of the Chief's mouths that they found small animal cages and they believe this is a site of a human trafficking operation, well, let's just say that you're in that business. You're in the human trafficking business. You're in the crime industrial complex business. Well, why not Jackson? Why would you consider anywhere else, considering all that's going on in Jackson the last few years, the last decade with law enforcement, the decrease, the largest exodus of law enforcement in a 5-6 year span in the history of the city? If I was ever going to set up shop somewhere that I didn't think I was going to be bothered, it would probably be on Bossier Road in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's like if you're in the crime business, this is a great place for a startup. You know, I mean, kind of like I want to incorporate in Delaware because that's the laws are favorable to corporations. Here is perfect if you're starting a crime business, like because you know, first of all, the 911 calls ain't going to work. Yeah. Cops can't get to your location because the traffic signals don't work. I mean, it's perfect.
It is. Yeah. Quick interstate access.
Yeah, it's not a bad deal.
Yeah, we did a little human trafficking summit back under Philip Gunn's leadership a couple of years ago, and I learned a lot about it. And all you need is a cell phone. That's how you run the whole business on it. So, real interesting.
All right, let's take a break. Come back. We got Fred Shanks. We got Shaun Yurtkuran. It's a FAFO Friday here on the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back. Mazda Jackson phone line. Y'all got any questions or comments? 601-879-0002. Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Guns and Gear, wide open all weekend long. Get over there, see them, support local. No need to go to a gun show. Go right to Guns and Gear. Handle all of your guns and ammo needs right here. Buy local. Gluckstadt, Highway 51 North. Shop them online too. gunsandgearms.com. Be open today and tomorrow. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We're live here on WYAB. Hey, guys, it's Friday night or it's Friday morning. We'd like to tell you about all the things you can do this weekend when we read our sponsor reads on Fridays. And tonight, Madison County folks, how about you guys get out to Parlor 1886 right here in downtown Flora? It's Flora's living room. It's more than a bar. It's more than a restaurant. It's more than just a hangout. It's Flora's living room. It's super cool in there. It's right on Main Street. Main Street's only about a half block long. You can't miss it. It's right next to one of the best little pizza places out here in the county, Railroad Pizza. You've all heard of Railroad Pizza. It's right next door. Well, there may be a business in between it. I think there's a salon in between. That's neither here nor there. Get over there. Check out Parlor 1886 tonight. I'm sure they'll have some live entertainment, karaoke, something like that going on. They got a ton of flat screen TVs. They got skeet ball. They're adding some old school pinball machines and a barcade in the back. It may already be up and running. I'm not 100% sure, but you will enjoy it. They got bar. Of course, you can sit at the bar. You can sit at the tables. Or if you're lucky enough to get there in time, sit at the VIP couch areas. And it's just like being in your living room, just hanging out with your friends, enjoying a cold drink. They got liquor, they got beer, they got all your favorite bar food type snacks or dinners, however you want. Entrees is the word I'm looking for. Entrees. Get over there, check it out. Check them out on Facebook. Get a sneak peek of what it looks like. I'm telling you, you will be blown away when you get out there. Parlor 1886. John Poor is the manager. Jason Dean is the owner. Good local folks investing into the community. That's what I'm all about. All right. Got Fred Shanks, got Shaun Yurtkuran in the studio today. Guys, I was eavesdropping on y'all's conversation. Mm-hmm. And I just figured, let's jump down a rabbit hole.
Okay.
Shad White wrote a book. The Mississippi Swindle.
Yeah.
Now, obviously none of us have read the book.
No,
I don't believe it's come out yet, right?
No, I think it did.
Is it been? Is it?
If it was just released.
Yeah, I saw you could pre-order it. I did see a stack of books in his photo, so it's just now available. Man, without diving into the book because none of us have read it, so I don't want to do a book review here. But I'm just the idea of him writing a book, and if anybody don't want to answer this, that's fine. I just why are we writing a book that the story is unfinished? And if here's my deal, if Bret Favre was guilty,
It's August 6th, by the way. I didn't mean to interrupt. That's when it comes.
August 6th.
Yeah, it's pulled up.
If Bret Favre was guilty, just go arrest his ass. I mean, you ain't got no problem going and arresting Peggy Sue at the Water Valley, and I'm just using Water Valley as a catch-all. Peggy Sue, if you work at Water Valley, I'm not really talking about you. Peggy Sue at the Water Valley Water District.
Yeah.
You know, for $40 that she slid into her pocket, which, fine, stealing. Handcuff them. Mm-hmm. Nobody's above the law. I mean, handcuffing and perp walking, you know, people that are stealing $40, $50, which that's the law. It is what it is. Nobody's above it. We keep being told. You know,
yeah.
Instead of Twitter battling with Bret, go arrest him if he's guilty. And I'm saying this as I like Bret Favre, you know, but I don't have a dog in this race. Yeah. This never offended my sensibilities. We don't have to get into the nuts and bolts of it. The money Bret got, the whole thing was approved by the Attorney General's office.
Correct, yeah. Correct.
What else is Bret supposed to do?
Mm-hmm. And then he gave back the money apparently for things he didn't do.
Yeah.
So, but I guess Shad wanted the interest. Is that correct?
Yeah. He charges interest in investigative cost, and I believe that's what he's arguing, that Bret has not paid that. But you're right, Bret did pay the principal back.
Yeah. And so the Miss got a volleyball court.
They did.
Yeah, and it was, like, again, you said approved by the AG's office, which is Adam Ganichow's mother was the one, the editor of the Mississippi Day, the one who actually approved it.
Yeah, so. and they've had no problem writing about this. But that seems quite hypocritical.
Leaving this part, I mean, they may have written it in there, maybe one article. It didn't seem like it's very prominent in their article or reporting of it, about that fact of it. I saw Alan Lang did, back when he had Y'all Politics, had reported something about it. I remember that. Yeah. But that's the only place I remember seeing. That's the only thing I found out, that it was Ganichow's mom on there. So.
Well, again, this whole Tamp thing it's a nothing pie to me. I mean, they broke the law. They went to jail.
Yeah.
Why is this still a political hot button? Why are we trying to get Phil Bryant arrested? I think Phil just had I think Phil was starstruck with Bret. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think Bret just assumed that Phil, being the governor, was above board. And I'm not saying he wasn't. Yeah. You know, I understand if you want to find something wrong with it, you can look at it and say, "Oh man, you know, these guys should have known." Yeah. But that's where Hood's office came in.
Well, you know what's interesting too about this, Clay? Like the way the TANF money, that all was changed in the '90s when we did all that welfare reform, mm-hmm. and the states are giving these block grants. And so actually, Vox, who read a lot, did a really good article about this about 2 years ago, explaining that okay, we get that Mississippi has done these things, right? But look at all these other states, and they were using like California, Oklahoma, like all the money that they'd used TANF for. So we just kind of got caught, is what happened here, you know. And of course, I'm not saying some of it was really bad, but there are people I think that are involved in it that were not guilty. Like Paul Acosta, I always use that example. Like I don't think he really did anything, but now he's got a bad rap because his name was involved in this.
Yeah, because he did what anybody else would have done.
Yeah,
you know, and all these blue-haired liberals whose hair is on fire on Twitter, throwing Paul Acosta's name under the bus and this, that, and the other. I want that same energy when all this Jackson stuff comes out.
Yeah, and I think you're already. I'm glad you brought. I think I'm using Twitter as an example. You're seeing some wagons being circled on the potential, fallout from this mayor DA scandal. Mm-hmm. From that side, I've noticed that myself. I'm just, and I think because they're bracing for how. Because this is going to make TANF look really stupid. I'm sorry. I know there was a lot of money stolen here. They're used wrongly or whatever. But we're talking about actual political corruption of the worst kind. Yeah. You know what I mean? And involving all sectors of government. So I think it may be one of the bigger scandals in the nation when this all unfolds, I think. It's going to be pretty interesting. We always think of the backroom deals with Mississippi Good Old Boys, which I'm sure has happened over the decades. We all know different stories here and there, but this is going to be like forefront to all of us to actually see this in real time.
And it's legitimate backroom deals allegedly at a cigar shop.
Yeah.
That's a back room. Yeah. There's a back room that you have to have special access to get to.
Yeah. Correct. I mean, supposedly pictures floating around.
Yeah. I mean, so there's going to be a lot of interesting things. But circling back to Shad, I just think the optics on it are bad for him. Because if you go look at now, Russ Latino I always like to credit Russ with this. Russ says if you only looked at Twitter, you would think Mississippi was a blue state.
Yeah.
But man,
That's a good observation.
It really is. So if you go every time Shad makes a post about this book, now in fairness, I have not looked at his other social media channels to see if the comments are any more favorable. But on Twitter, you have the left and the right spitting venom at Shad about this. The left, why hadn't you arrested Phil? Why hadn't you arrested Phil? Phil. Your boy Phil. But they're also like that he went after Bret Favre because I guess Bret's just a symbolism of a good old boy, and they don't like that. Bret's got testosterone. He's a leader. He's a self-made millionaire. That's all things the left hates. A man's man. He's straight. He don't celebrate Pride Month. None of that stuff. He didn't march for BLM. He didn't do anything. So he's got to go. The good old boys like Bret, so they have to attack and tear down Bret. And I firmly believe that that's what the attack on Bret Favre is about more than anything. It's what Bret Favre symbolizes. And then you have the right who's mad at him for going after Bret Favre and just not letting it go. When it's either arrest him or let it go. I don't see how he comes out of this. And somebody said he sold the movie rights to it, allegedly. I mean, if that's the case, he needs to step down as auditor right now.
Yeah, I think
because he's just using the position to monetize it.
Right. I mean, I said that for last week. I think the book is a bad look. Just because from the purpose of an ongoing investigation, which this still is, as we all know, it's not over. I mean, I think the feds are still working on it, and it's ongoing. When the investigation is over, you want to write a book. That's one thing. I think it's okay, and everything's closed out. But I think the thing with Shad White is. And I said a little bit of this last week. I think he does a good job generally. He's aggressive on the stuff he does. But the problem, it's the self-promotion that bothers everybody. Nobody really likes that. I think, especially in Mississippi, we're all kind of, I think Mississippians as people really, really don't enjoy that when people self-promote too much,
Well, it's the one thing that I hear people gripe about with Andy Gibson.
Yeah.
It's like him making himself the face of the fair and the rodeo, which it doesn't bother me. I am a self-promotion guy, so I respect the hustle. I truly do. And if you gave me the purse strings to make myself the face of the state fair, I would too.
You don't say you mean like T-shirts and flags. You like self-promotion.
Right. So I'm a capitalist, and self-promotion is a part of that. Is a part of that capitalism tree. So, but. My problem with Shad is the book while he's still in office. And frankly, it's just the fact that it's not finished and it just seems so self-serving. It's just a lot of parts here that I don't like. And I'm with you. I do think Shad does an aggressive job with what he does. And I love his stance on DEI and getting all that out of the schools.
And he's funny on Twitter, actually. If you follow him, he's actually pretty funny. Sometimes the stuff he says, I think is hilarious.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, but I can look at things, I can compartmentalize, and I'm compartmentalizing this. And I think it's a terrible look. And he got some really bad advice from somebody.
I agree. I think someone gave him some really bad political advice that this was a good idea. It seems like you said, like, across the aisle, everybody's like, why did you do this, man? Like, this is not. I mean, can anybody remember anybody that's a current politician that was writing a book while in office? Now, I know some people write them prior to running for president. That's a very common thing to do. Everybody's got Tim Scott's got
it's a payoff.
Yeah, it's the book before you run for president. It seems like a standard staple. But while you're in office and releasing a book, especially about something that's not, I mean, maybe it's different if it's like your time as governor or your whatever, but you're talking about an ongoing criminal investigation, and that's, I think, the problem with it.
Yeah. Let's take a break. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guns and Gear text line as you kind of wind down the hour here. Let's see. The name of the Shad White book was Mississippi Swindle. What was the catch?
Bret Favre and the welfare scandal that shocked America. And on the Amazon, blurb, it says how America's youngest state auditor uncovered the largest public corruption scandal in the history of the nation's poorest state. A must-read with all the thrills of a John Grisham novel for fans of shocking true crime exposés like Black Edge and Bad Blood. So.
Let's see here. Chad says Shad White's morals keep him from stealing from the state, but his ethics won't prevent him from capitalizing on information gained from his position. That is a That's a very valid point there. And look, I mean, I don't want to come across like I'm just hating on Shad because I think he's done a lot of good. I think he has potential to be a very bright star in the future. And like I say, I love his attack on DEI and the fact that we're funding that nonsense at our state universities. I really appreciate that. And I can tolerate some of this other stuff because of that, because at the end of the day, you don't have to agree with somebody 100% of the time. Right. I just think this is a terrible look. And like, who, I've yet to find a person that thought this book was a good idea other than Shad White.
Shad White and one of his advisors, right? That's
that's the problem when you keep too many yes people around you.
That's 100% right. That's working in government for a long time. That's something we've said for years.
Yep.
Is when like my old boss Robert Smith had a lot of yes people around him. Yep. And that causes a lot of problems.
I mean, it's one of the reasons Shaun and I have become such good friends. Same with Fred is you need people who will tell you the dang truth.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Clay, that's a terrible idea. Shaun, that's a bad idea. All right, we got to take our break. We got Fred Shanks in here for the whole 2 hours. We're going to get into some other stuff going on down at the Capitol. We'll be right back in 7 minutes. The Mack Hike dealerships next door to Rick's Pro Truck, all that right there. That's Johnny's Pizza House. I think they're open till 9 p.m. daily, 7 days a week, available for dine-in, carry-out, and delivery. All right, here in the studio today, real quick. I know y'all heard me talking about the Popeyes retro stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I stumbled across an old picture the other day of like an OG Popeyes, and it's got the red awning around it, the black bricks, the black stone, you know. It's like, man, I just remember pulling up there as a kid, thinking about how good that was going to be. And I just like the spicy was like spicy then. So I'm not, it's still, Popeyes is still good now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. You know, like it hasn't, to me, it hasn't gone down in taste.
Yeah.
Like quality. It just hadn't. I mean, they got the biggest chicken. And man, I got excited. So then I just kind of went down this internet rabbit hole and Googled old Popeyes menus. Mm-hmm. And of course, I found a subreddit. With an old Popeyes menu, you can get a 24-piece bucket in like the mid '80s. Just guess what a 24-piece cost.
$12.
$9.49. $9.49. That would be $100 almost if you drove through and got a 24-piece bucket with all the fixings. Yeah. It'd be $70-$80.
I used to love that as a kid when my we had a sailboat growing in Miami that we'd go out on the weekends, and my parents would go get the bucket of chicken from KFC. You remember the big bucket?
Yes.
Like how good that was, and you were always trying to fight for the wings. You know,
when I had my boat, we would always stop at that gas station right there on the corner of Rice Road and Old Canton. Like, 51 Old Canton, whatever you want to call it, right there. There's it used to be, I think, a Scene gas station or an Amoco or something like that. Anyway, it's the older gas station that's been there the longest. They had fried chicken boxes. Mm-hmm. And there's that other gas station right on Lake Harbor. Yeah, it's an older one. They built a Weston Sizzler beside it and all that. It's an old kind of more rundown gas station, but they had good fried chicken too. Yeah. And man, we would get just a box of fried chicken, just throw it back there. It's like at some point we're gonna meet the perfect interaction of too much sun and too much alcohol, and this fried chicken is gonna be the best fried chicken we've ever had.
Yeah, it just does it.
But anyway, we could talk about the best fried chicken at gas stations all day. But let's shift gears, man. We're trying to have a little fun on a Friday. Fred, how was Jason White's first session as speaker?
Well, he had told us back in November.
How about that smooth transition?
Nice, man. Yeah. Nice segue. Coming in, we all knew he was going to be speaker. And to your listeners who don't know, the Speaker of the House is elected by the members of the House. And it is probably the most powerful position in the state of Mississippi with the fewest amount of votes. Just something to kind of think about. But he had kind of given us his game plan. And, he told us that we were going to tackle some massive, issues, and we did. He's not scared of the devil, So he brought up, we were going to, take on things that are probably not going to be popular, like, Medicaid expansion, fixing some PERS issues, and possible school choice. I know it's probably a hot topic on here, and
I've been
school funding.
The school choice thing, I was always a fan of that, and I realized why I was a fan of it because I lived in Jackson for so long.
Yeah.
And I had a daughter, and that was a fight we had to fight, was finding out where to send her to school that wasn't a JPS or Hinds County school.
Yeah.
And so I really was a fan of school choice from that perspective. Then moving out into the county, I understood why so many people out there weren't fans of school choice.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to get inundated with Jacksonians.
Yeah. It was something, and we didn't get anywhere with that. It did get discussed quite a bit. It's been on the forefront. We've talked about it every year. I thought that was going to be something we would tackle one way or the other, but we had so many other bigger issues. The first part of the session in January, we had 2 special sessions within a session with these multi-billion-dollar deals in Marshall and Madison counties that are bringing in thousands of jobs and are really put Mississippi, whether people agree with it or not, what they're doing, they're putting Mississippi on the map. I mean, we've apparently had these national economic figures, looking at Mississippi and like, hey, what's going on over there? Why were, they were kind of mad that they didn't know about it. I'm talking about these big, CEOs of other companies. Like, all of a sudden now we're a hidden gem for that kind of stuff.
How do we make sure they know about us?
Well, we have MDA, which is our development authority, and we got a guy running named Bill Court, fine guy. Mm-hmm. He that's his job, is to go out, promote Mississippi, meet with these people in the boardrooms, and get them here. And so far, he's batting 1,000.
Yep. So a lot of people have a problem with they call it corporate welfare, mm-hmm. but I'm not saying on the surface that I don't agree with that. But here's the problem: mm-hmm. you have to do that now.
You do,
because you have these states competing against one another.
Right.
You have these major corporations playing both sides against the middle, working the best deal. I mean, there's been things we've gotten, and there's been things we lost because we were kind of the pivot point.
Yeah.
To work. I'll just use Arkansas as an example. To work to get a better deal. Somebody wanted to go to Arkansas, but they used Mississippi against Arkansas to get a better deal from Arkansas, and people do it with us and other states.
Look, Clay, that's a good point. You're exactly right. They pay these headhunters, millions to come and find a place to put these, big operations, and certainly they're going to go where they get, the best deal. They've done their homework. These things take years in advance of planning to do, and to get through regulations and all these things. And you're exactly right. So, yeah, I mean, let's say do you give them a little bit of tax advantage to come in and bring in 3,000 jobs? Absolutely, you do.
Let me ask this. Let's bring this conversation to Hinds County. You see a lot of these major developments pop up in Madison County, mm-hmm. North Mississippi, the Golden Triangle, Oktibbeha, that area. Mm-hmm. Why those areas, and why not a more heavily populated area like a Jackson? What is it? The Hinds County delegation that's not doing their due diligence to help get these people? Is it the Chamber of Commerce? Is it how is Jack? Because to me, being the Jackson guy, I have to ask this question, or at least even Rankin County. Why aren't we getting these major developments out there? We have the population base, we have the rooftops, we have the schools, we have the workforce. Why are we going to, for lack of a better term, why aren't we taking these major developments to the middle of nowhere?
Well, you're hitting on a good point, and it comes down to infrastructure. And so in Madison, for instance, they already had this big economic development area.
The mega site?
Yeah, they do. They have that. They've already had that for a little while.
They might as well have just named that the Acme site. I mean, could they have come up with a more boring, the mega site?
Yeah.
Did Trump name that for them? It's huge. It's huge. It's a huge site.
But I will say this. We were in some talks. I'm on the Ways and Means Committee, and we had MDA and come in and explain everything on both of the deals when Marshall and Madison. And the Madison County deals actually going to ultimately go into Hinds County. They want to help the city of Jackson. Yeah. They really do. And that I just didn't think it got brought up quite enough. They're going to do job training. They're really going to promote it and try to get local people from the Jackson area to work at these things.
Now, let me play devil's advocate. Shaun, I promise I'm going to let you talk.
Mm-hmm.
Let me play devil's advocate real quick. So, Amazon came into Jackson. People, it's like people like to ignore this. They came in, they took over that massive facility there that could have been a boat anchor around the city's neck there at the old Comcast building.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right there at Atkins Beasley on 55 by CarMax. And it's a distribution center or an order fulfillment center. maybe that ain't the same thing. But anyway, it's a order fulfillment center. I talked to a buddy of mine with JPD the other day. They get more calls there than any other fulfillment center in the country, and it's not because of the vagrants around there. It's not because of the Jackson crime. It's because of the Jacksonians that work there fighting one another. So I'm playing a little devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
When people ask, why not Jackson? Why not Jackson? Why not Jackson? Well, you're closer to potentially losing an Amazon fulfillment center than you think, because they ain't going to play this stuff but for so long.
Yeah.
And if Amazon pulls out, good luck getting anybody to ever come. You got to start acting right, folks.
Well, I mean, it seems like really they were working on some economic development downtown at the Convention Center Hotel, right? I mean, there's a certain way to do that.
I mean, they were trying to grease the wheels.
I mean, they were, that's
how does business get done?
I mean, Fred's talking about the tax breaks we give, I mean, that was another way to do it, wasn't it?
Maybe not legal, but
Yeah.
No, we're not giving you any tax breaks, but you can break me off a little something.
There's a tax break, and I guess Chokwe could have, if he'd given a tax break, that would have been no money for him, right?
And man, it's so hard. The Chokwe experience. Remember the Michael Vick experience?
Yeah.
It was a ride in the Nike commercials. The Chokwe experience has just led me to have such a disdain for the city, because every time I'm like, man, why can't we get these kind of developments at minimum in Hinds County? And I know we got the Continental Tire in Hinds County, and
yeah,
that over time that's going to turn into a really big deal. I don't know how many people they're actually employing right now, because it's a very modern facility that doesn't require it doesn't require mega staff. But I would just like to see more stuff out that way, more stuff out this way, and it's just like, man, it's just. Hey, people can say, well, Clay's, they're just right there in Madison. Man, that's a 30, 45-minute drive from most places to get out there to where these Amazon facilities, these Nissans, to go to Canton. That ain't Jackson. I mean, we've gotten smaller in the sense that everything feels closer because of our phones and social media. But those car rides are still 45 minutes to an hour one way. Yeah. It would be nice to get some stuff, but I understand why, when you have the type of politicians and the type of nonsense going on in Jackson that you do, why corporations don't want to come. And it ain't just Jackson, it's the Hinds County Board of Supervisors. Just when you have them shenanigans going on, why these businesses just look the other way.
Yeah. Well, the good thing, though, is that the Amazon deal, like I said, it's going to reach into, the western part of Hinds County. So, and they made that statement, they're going to, certainly do training. They're going to, partner up with some junior colleges, like what Continental Tire does, and they're really going to invest in the community. So we'll kind of see what happens, but they really want to help.
Yeah, I didn't mean to go down such a rabbit hole on the economic development side and the corporate welfare, as people call it, but I think it's very important. I mean, when we're competing against these other states, I mean, we're the only red state that, at minimum, didn't gain population during the great COVID migration, and it's because we did not have these jobs, and now we're getting these jobs, and we stand a chance to start growing our population and not losing it, or if you ain't gaining, you're losing.
Yeah, and just because of these two huge multi-billion-dollar economic development deals, there are more coming. Yeah. We've already in talks, so there's more coming. Well,
what we have to learn to do is whatever you want to call our side of this. The kind of non-mainstream conservative, America First side, whatever, grassroots, whatever we have to learn how to take a W every now and then.
Absolutely.
And not find the wrong with every right.
Yeah.
And just say that it's a W. We won.
Yeah.
It's like the Hunter Biden case the other day. Regardless of the fallout from it, regardless of appeals and this and that and the other, take the damn W. We got a sitting president's son that's now a convicted felon.
Yeah, which will tie into his dad.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Take the W and enjoy it. Let's take a break. Come back. We'll reset. We'll actually let Shaun talk. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, you out car shopping this weekend, Mazda of Jackson Get over there today. Every vehicle purchase comes with a powertrain lifetime warranty, or a lifetime powertrain warranty, excuse me. And you're going to get a free 43-inch TV. Get over there, check out the all-new Mazda CX-9 today, and meet the owners, the Carr family, Mr. and Miss Carr. Go see my buddies Grady, Richard, and any of the other great sales folks over there. And, man, look, know you're doing business with locally owned folks. You're going to get the owner's phone number every time you buy a vehicle. They're probably going to work your deal. They sit at the sales desk. They touch every deal. They get familiar with it, the customer. They understand all your needs, your wants, your budget, all that stuff. And, man, I'm telling you, it just hits different when you do business with the boss. Get over there, check them out, shop them online, MazdaJackson.com, located right there, Briarwood Road on I-55. It's the old Mercedes-Benz location. You know where it's at. Mazda of Jackson. Speaking of Mazda Jackson, the phone line, 601-879-0002. The Guns of Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Let's read a few texts real quick. Jackie asked me about this is a little off topic, but I want Jackie to know I'm listening. That I appreciate her texting about the potential of the solar farm out in Raymond. You know, Jackie, as far as that goes, look, I'm against all that stuff, but I don't live in Raymond, and there's only so much I can, you know, it is what it is. Yeah. I'm pulling for you guys to win, but I mean, y'all got that locked down, but keep making them people uncomfortable. Reach out to your public service commissioner, DeKeither Stamps, over there. You know, let him know that y'all don't want this, and at the end of the day, ride those board of supervisors like a horse. I mean, just whoop them. Let them know you do not want this. They clearly want it, and they're clearly, in my opinion, being incentivized to want it. And I think when it's all said and done, if y'all end up getting it, you could end up with an investigation similar to what's going on in Jackson. Because the will of the people seem to not want this, but the board of supervisors seems to really want this, going completely against the will of the people.
Clay, where is it? Do you know where that is, or whether that's being talked about?
It's along the Big Black.
Okay.
You know, and it's just you lose that land. Granted, it's private property rights, you know, but still, there's one out in Pillahatchee. I mean, out in Scott County somewhere. Okay. You know, but that's legitimately rural, out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Like, these folks don't want it out in their community. I mean, at some point, the folks, you got to pay attention to that. So anyway, Kathy, I don't know. I mean, look, yeah, everybody's done such a good job. I don't know what else I could bring to the table with it. Mm-hmm. You know, I've got all the news coverage in the world. It is what it is. I mean, you got David Funches over there raising 7 levels of hell as much and often. Allison Lauderdale is doing a great job. I mean, everybody over there is fired up about it. I don't know what I could bring to the table as far as a dog in that fight. So let's see here. More on the Guns and Gear text line. Jerry says, it's like as the world turns over here trying to get this app to update. So, Fred, we had talked about this text during the break, and I think it's a good opportunity to explain the energy situation. Yep. Jerry says that inevitably this is going to cause – these data centers are going to use so much energy they're going to cause rolling brownouts. And you're saying that's not true. No. Explain.
No. Well, one of the things and one of the reasons the site was chosen in the Madison at the mega site, as you said, was because they do have available energy. And Entergy, Mississippi, will be handling all that. And what it's going to do, it's going to bring, obviously, a multi-billion-dollar economic development deal to Madison. But it's like dominoes falling. It will also bring economic development deal within Entergy, Mississippi. And it's going to create more jobs for them just to get the site ready for Amazon. And no, they're handling all that. That's just simply not true.
So they're creating enough energy there.
Yes.
To not have to take from anywhere else.
Correct.
I mean, I have a very rudimentary understanding of how the grid works.
Yeah. But they will be building. They already have it, but they will be building more, and it's going to create another boon to the energy industry in Mississippi just to get the Amazon site here. So I mean, it's already basically it's already booming before it even gets built.
Gotcha. All right, let's see here. He says you're wrong. Entergy is decreasing reliable power load. So
Yeah.
Agree to disagree.
Yep.
On that. We'll see how it works out. I mean, it ain't working well for Texas.
Yeah. Hey, we got them. You know.
Yeah. So I'll take it. And, we can. They can figure out a way to add more. Put some solar panels on the roof. I don't know. I mean, they seem to be very popular within the political realm nowadays. Let's circle back to one thing. You had a few things you guys got accomplished in the House. Everything's not all doom and gloom. You got squatted trucks banned. Does it goes into effect July 1st?
Yeah, and I've had a lot of people reach out in support of that.
Yeah.
And
I was the only person not in support of it, I believe.
Yeah. Well,
and the guys with squatted trucks, of course.
Yeah. I had the law enforcement community and multiple, judges reach out to me about that. And, I've had some people say, oh, well, that's all y'all did was just ban squatted trucks and didn't do anything else. We take up 3,000 bills a session. So, no, that's not all we did with squatted trucks. And that squatted truck bill, I mean, that took 2 years to get through. I mean, it wasn't like it's just, hey, let's just do this.
There's some folks angry about that, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was watching this Jordan Cummings trial. I was covering it for the show Wednesday, and a lot of those witnesses I could tell probably would not have liked this. That's what I was watching the trial. So.
But, as far as
those South Rankin County folks.
Yeah, they definitely. Well, one of those dudes I bet had a squatted truck. I'm just going to throw that out there as a guess.
Shaun, are you profiling?
No, I was profiling a bit. Yes, I was.
No,
yes,
but
I was.
the amount of support that I would get on that was far outweighed anything else. I got a call from California telling me, hey man, do it.
I heard the voicemail.
Yeah, I can't repeat it here, but I just found that fascinating. But we got that done. I had a House Bill 691, which is a Board of Minimum Standards bill, which Board of Minimum Standards keeps law enforcement certifications up. And they keep up with training and things like that. And this year I worked with Commissioner Shaun Tyndall, and we gave the board some teeth to where they can actually, investigate misconduct. And we're getting them 2 investigators to do that, and as well.
So it's kind of an oversight kind of like a
board, like an oversight board. It is, but also
it's just like an internal affairs over the
correct
police from a state level.
Correct, but what they also do, you're going to get a better product because they keep up with continuing education and training. And right now, your listeners may not know, but only police departments, only municipalities do that. So now they're going to continue to do it, but state level law enforcement and sheriff's departments will be doing it too. So I'm real proud of that one.
Yeah, and look, obviously there's been some concerns and some issues that have come up over the last couple of years where, that could play into assisting.
Yeah, and I had a guy call me from Chickasaw County yesterday that had read about the bill, and he's got an issue with, a police chief up there, a legitimate one, and I think it's going to fit the mold, and I think it may be the first one that this newly, restructured board is going to take a look at.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break so we stay on schedule. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran and Fred Shanks. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We're live here on WYAB. Guys, burgers, blues, barbecue, open for lunch. Actually, open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner right now. Flowood in Madison. Flowood, brand new Flowood location located right there in Dogwood, right in front of Dick's Sporting Goods, is open for breakfast as well as the Main Street Madison location. Also, lunch and dinner. Get over there this weekend, check out some great little live entertainment from little acoustic type acts, and then just enjoy a great burger. If you want to get over there today for a plate lunch, they of course have hamburger steak available every day with 2 vegetables. Today's alternating meat on the Blue Plate Special is fried fish. It's Mississippi. You're not allowed to do a blue plate on a Friday and not offer a fried fish. However, Martin's has a fried chicken on Fridays, but neither here nor there. Fried fish Fridays at Burgers Blues Barbecue. Get over there, check them out. Get out there tonight, man. Cold beers, good drinks, great food, good staff, award-winning burgers. And, of course, don't forget they offer 2 food trucks for all of your catering special event needs. And, of course, they can cater from 5 to 5,000 people. So keep them in mind. Let them design a menu that works best for your special event. BurgersBlues.com. 3 locations, Madison, Flowood at Dogwood, and downtown Brandon. All right.
I do have a question for Fred from one of my friends texted me. He's a local lawyer, and he says about the plan out there for Amazon. He said, how many gallons of water are going to be wasted a day at the Amazon Web Services cooling the system? He says, per day, I bet that uses more than all the homes in Madison.
I can find out. I really don't know.
Yeah.
It's not something I would have. Yeah, good question.
Look, I want to shift gears from the Amazon thing because we could talk about it for hours. Jerry, I know you're on hold. I'm just going to shift gears here. Fred, some dust got kicked up this week about these statues up in Washington.
Yeah.
And I know you've had a lot of arrows shot at you already.
Yeah.
Some friendly fire, even from me. Would you explain to people how that ended up on your desk and what that whole situation is?
Sure. There's no bill, there's no resolution, there's nothing to do anything. Simply that this past session, I'm the rules chairman, so that would go through my committee. And I had some reporters ask me about it, and I simply told them, we had, so many big things going on this session, I couldn't even look at it because that would be a massive topic. It's divisive on both sides. So I told them I would at least have time this session coming up to look at it. I didn't say I was going to do anything, nothing like that. Because there's multiple things to take into account. How much money does it cost? Obviously, it'd be a lot of money. And two, the main thing is, if that is something that the body wanted to do, would I even have the votes to do it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But, just looking at those things. And, some people, to be quite honest with you, after you talked about it on the show, my phone blew up with Republican support to do it.
Yeah.
Now I'm still, like I said, I'm still going to look at it neutral, check both sides. But yeah, there's nothing on the books right now. And, outside of just talking about it. And I certainly don't mind, discussing it. So,
yeah. Shaun?
I think that's a pretty good answer. I guess it's something up for debate. We did talk about how, Clay and I both didn't really even know there were statues there in the first place. I wonder how many Mississippians actually even knew that.
That's a good point because I guarantee you 95% of the people don't know who James George is.
I have no idea who that is, and I need to look that up.
I looked him up, and he's known as the Mississippi's Great Commoner.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had no idea, but I guarantee you, and, a lot of people probably don't even know that we even have statues up there. But every state has two. We sent ours up there in 1931. So, 70 years after the Civil War.
100 years ago.
Yeah.
90 plus years ago. Look, not to show my historical ignorance here, I, honest to God, just assumed that they were talking about at the Mississippi Capitol.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, that place is a museum sort of already.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just not for removing stuff.
No.
Even if I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's history. Let's leave it.
My thoughts are not, like I said, just as a talk.
Yeah.
If it did get, nothing's getting changed, it would be moved to Mississippi. We still own it, and it would go to a museum. And then there has been a thought that, I kind of like the thought is, to put a time limit on it, say every 20, 30 years, do something different.
I think some of the issue.
Let every generation get their swing at this thing.
Yeah. Because it was, I got asked that, well, what if this was to happen or whatever, who would I like to see up there? And I said, one of the two, it'd be Elvis or nothing for me.
And the other has to be Bret Favre.
Hey, Bret Favre. Do you think Shad White wants his statue up there?
What do you mean? I want one of me and Bret.
Yeah, me and Bret. I'm going to bet you a statue of Shad and Bret up. That's what we need to replace it. I guess every Mississippi could agree on that one, I guess.
Shad and Lynn.
Shad and Lynn.
The winner of the Battle Royal gets to have their statue replace one of them.
I bet we could raise some money for that, too.
Look, here's my thoughts on it, and I gave them the other day, but just since we're talking about it, I am just tired of replacing our history with stuff, and I think that's really what it boils down to. Even the history I don't like, I am tired of replacing it. As a whatever I am, whatever version of a conservative you call me, a Barstool conservative, an America First conservative, I'm not a pro-Confederacy
Yeah.
conservative or anything like that. I'm tired of removing our history and being told I have to respect somebody else's.
Yeah.
Like, can't we just add yours too?
Yeah. Well,
Can we split the difference? Maybe take one away and put Medgar Evers or somebody there if that's what this is about? Because everybody seems to be replacing theirs with a civil rights leader. Can we find a happy medium?
Yeah, and that was, to your point. I looked at it this way. Washington, D.C. is a long way from Mississippi. And is this something that affects everyday Mississippians? No. And most haven't even been to Washington. And again, like we said, most don't even know we have statues there or who they are. So, I get it.
It's like Shaun and I said when we talked about it Monday. I said, now let's talk, or Wednesday, I said, now let's talk about something that's going to be extremely polarizing, tear both sides apart, have us slinging mud and crap all at each other that affects our day-to-day lives. Zero.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
On either side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zero.
It's a lot of virtue signaling on both sides. I think we see a lot of that. Like it's also I was thinking about something too. Also you have to look at in terms of erasing the past. Like everybody that was involved in the Confederacy were not just evil. You know what I mean?
No.
And there's an example of this I'm going to give you is LQC Lamar, who the law school in Ole Miss was named after. Not now. They changed it to Kayad, the new one they built. But there's always been a debate about getting rid of LQC Lamar, who, by the way, after the Civil War, became a United States Senator. Then he also served on the United States Supreme Court. He's a pretty impressive Mississippian, even though he happened to be a Confederate officer. I don't think we can just because virtue of you served in the Confederacy that we have to erase you from history.
Well, at some point they're going to try to do that with Trump supporters.
Yeah, I could see that.
I
could see
already trying.
Right.
They're already trying that with Trump supporters. Like they try to paint us all as a modern, not just the Confederacy. The Confederacy wasn't all bad people. It's been history has evolved this into 100% being if you were a Confederate, you were a slave-owning racist, and you're not allowed to argue that. And that's just not the way it was. And just like they tried to paint all Trump supporters as insurrectionists and try to paint us all with a broad brush, that just ain't the way it is.
Yeah, to expound
and
on
I've seen it in real time is why I have a different view of the Confederacy stuff.
Well, to expound on your point you just made, behind you is an American flag in this office. Yeah. And if you put that in your profile picture, the left will make you look like you're a racist just by having the American flag on. They don't want you to like your own country. Yeah.
So. I told Shaun this. I may have told you. It's like the Rush Limbaugh slippery slope gay marriage thing. That was my biggest reservations about changing the flag, even though I did in fact support it. And just like it's time to move on from this. We won. We kept it the longest. Whatever your perspective is on that, it was, and we talked about this. It was in fact holding us back with economic development. Yeah. And every time people say, "Well, what's it done since it went away?" Well, it got us all the stuff we're getting. 100%. Those were huge parts of those conversations, absolutely. Whether y'all want to admit it or not. Yeah. But I do see the slippery slope aspect because, we went from gay marriage, which I wasn't diabolically against, to now we've got pride parades and guys walking down the middle of the street in bondage, drag queen happy hour, gender affirming care for kids, and it escalated. That slippery slope got slick quick. And then it's the same thing with erasing our history. It's like, well, that thing offends me so bad that it's got to go, okay, well, we'll agree with you on this. Well, then the next group, well, that thing offends me so bad, it's got to go. And is there anything sacred anymore?
It doesn't seem that way. It's always going to be something.
Exactly. And that's why I say you just got to stop it here.
Yeah.
Whether I give a damn about those statues or not, you got to stop it. It's like you got to tell these petulant children no every now and then. No. It ain't hard. It's one of my favorite words. No. Let's take a break. Come back, land the plane for the day. We got Fred Shanks. We got Shaun Yurtkuran here in the Buy FAFO. Go get your T-shirt from Clay. BuyFAFO.com studios. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here with Fred Shanks and Shaun Yurtkuran. We got a great call during the break. Lady will remain nameless, but she just I believe I was talking to an elder statesman from the African American community, and she said, it's nobody else's responsibility, and I hope I'm paraphrasing you right. It's nobody else's responsibility to control what I'm offended by. And my surmising of our conversation was that she didn't think those statues mattered. You know, that it ain't nobody else's responsibility to remove something that offends her.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Well, that kind of goes back to our point earlier, Clay, that, you know, most people don't even know we have statues there or who they are.
Like I said, when I heard about this, my initial reaction was, the damn place is a museum already. Leave them alone. I thought we were talking about our capital. It wasn't until the next day that I learned that they were up there. In my defense, I've never been to D.C. I've never been on any of these tours, been through the Capitol, none of this stuff. I didn't know there was a hall of statues. This all seems like a huge waste of money.
Yeah. Well, and you made the point off air, and you may have said it on air previously, but, you know, I just simply got asked about it because Arkansas apparently put a civil rights leader, which is apparently that sits right next to our statues, and I got asked by the media, you know, well, what is, you know, how do you feel about that, and would that make you want to do something? And I said no. I mean, that doesn't sway me one way or the other. I mean, just really nothing to it. But that's how it all got started. It was just simply just a question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tired of our default to correcting everything Confederacy and Civil War related being automatically something from the 1960s.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of history has happened since then as well.
Yeah.
And we know we can move forward. Have we not had any great Mississippians in the 80s, the 90s, the 70s?
Oprah. We could put an Oprah statue in there. I mean,
No.
come on, Oprah. There you go.
Put the ankle bracelet on it, too.
Ankle bracelet. Did you do something illegal? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Well, Shaun, you mentioned, you know, Walter Payton.
Walter Payton. There you
go.
go. Put Walter Payton in there.
Yeah.
Brett Favre.
You know, I mean, Brett too, I guess.
I mean, I wouldn't even be opposed to Archie Manning.
Could it be Brett with a camera phone, though? You know, the statue would be that.
With a Southern Miss jersey on,
Yeah.
a volleyball jersey.
Yeah. Just a camera phone, you know, sending messages.
I don't know. That whole thing didn't bother me any at all. Like, of course, Brett Favre was the first celebrity to get in trouble sending unsolicited Johnson photos.
Yeah.
You know, like that's right on brand.
Right. Yeah.
Right on brand, and clearly it worked. She wasn't offended till years later.
Yeah, right. It took her a couple years. Her name's Jen Sturger. I still remember that. You know, she now has become, actually, she's still like a social media influencer because of all that.
Yeah, man, she got a very well built bottom.
Yeah.
I may have seen her on Instagram, but I can't remember. Fred, thank you for coming in today.
Always.
I know we brought it down a notch or two from what you're used to. I'm disappointed you didn't wear the Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, next time.
Next time. Shaun, thank you for making it in today, man. We're really glad your mother's okay. We're praying for her safety and healing. And we will see you back Monday. Stay tuned. Great cast of characters coming up today.